Previously on Storylines, the Negro Leagues. When I met Buck in 1993, one of the first questions that I posed to him was, what motivated you to want to build a Negro Leagues baseball museum? And his answer was succinct, but very poignant, so that baseball's unsung heroes will never be forgotten. Without question, Satchel Paige was the Negro League's biggest and brightest star. A lot of people don't know that Jackie Robinson's illustrious professional baseball career began in Kansas City in 1945 with the Kansas City Monarchs. The beauty of the Negro Leagues is that they didn't care what color you were, and they didn't care what gender you were. The legendary Josh Gibson would have hit home runs in any league, in any era, had he been given the opportunity to do so. What we are doing is fueling dreams. We're fueling the possibilities that come from this incredible story of amazing athletes who overcame the obstacles that were in front of them to go after their dreams. And the Negro Leagues gave them a platform to do just that. They say every star tells a story. And isn't it fitting that one story of triumph over adversity was founded in the winter and celebrated in the summer, under bright lights with stars in the sky? A story of monarchs and grays, clowns and Crawfords, eagles and giants, and of course, stars, who defined what for the love of the game really meant. And on those fields, under those lights, legends came to play, where their passion never died, where their stars would always shine. These are the legends. These are their stories. This is the Negro Leagues.
Tell me I was born to lose, but I made a good thing out of bad news.
We need each other. We have to have each other.
When I say the name James Thomas Bell, most people have no idea who you're talking about. But when you say Cool Papa, everybody knows.
I'm taking care of business. I got so many things to do. Whoa.
I believe that it is the greatest nickname in baseball history. He is still believed to be the fastest man to ever play this game. How fast was Cool Papa Bell? I guess you could say faster than a light switch. The legendary Satchel Paige would say of his friend that he was so fast that he could walk in a room, turn off the lights, get in bed, pull up the covers before the room went dark. They clocked him circling the bases in an amazing 12 seconds. He twice, honest to God's truth, twice scored from first base on a bunt in exhibition games against Major League All-Stars. He once stole 175 bases in a less than 200-game season. The legendary Jesse Owens, who at that time was the fastest man in the world, would never race Cool Papa Bell. He would have made Jesse Owens look like he was standing still.
Did you ever race him, like, before a game in front of crowds and stuff?
We had a doubleheader in Cleveland, Ohio, and he was in the stand. He see me running the bases around, and they say, I left my tracksuit home, so I didn't have any tracksuit.
I got work.
Trust the vibe, Winnister, fly sinister, Philly certified finisher, the prime minister, in God's image, the monument, the homages to the problems, acknowledging how to apply penance for the transgressions that I've accepted, and acquiescence on my own presence.
Here's the center fielder, Cool Papa Bell.
What up, y'all? Yeah, soundtrack, what's poppin', baby? Woo!
And that one fouled off.
I go by the name of Lupe Fiasco, representing that first and 15. Yeah, and this
Slapped
one right
hard the
here,
other way, but foul.
I dedicate this one right here to all my homies out there grinding. You know what I'm saying? Legally and illegally. You know what I'm
Swing
talking
and a
about?
line drive ripped right center field, and that's a base hit. So a runner aboard to start the inning.
First time he got on it, he slipped, landed on his hip and busted his lip. For a week he had to talk with a lisp like this. Now we can end the story right here, but shorty didn't quit.
Go ahead run on base. Taylor digs in now. Line drive, and Bell kicks it into high gear. And this one could be extra bases. Headed for the plate. Relay throw. Save. He scores. Nobody runs like Cool Papa Bell.
We gon' be alright. We gon' be alright. We gon' be alright. We gon' be alright. Do you hear me? Do you feel me? We gon' be alright. We gon' be alright. Huh? We gon' be alright. We gon' be alright. Do you hear me? Do you feel me? We gon' be alright. What you want? You a house, you a car, 40 acres and a mule, a piano, a guitar, anything. See, my name is Lucy. I'm your dog.
Give it a full shot.
Cool Papa Bell comes to the Negro Leagues as a pitcher, had a full repertoire of pitches. Really good fastball, great breaking ball, screwball, knuckleball. He earned the nickname Cool Papa while facing the legendary Oscar Charleston in a crucial situation in a game, and he struck him out.
You're out. I thought Oscar Charleston and Brentfield. Wait a minute, something in my eye. Yeah, that's a curveball in the eye. That's what's in the eye.
And that led the St. Louis Stars manager to say, that guy is cool. And then he added Papa, and the name stuck. But Cool hurt his arm. And it was almost a twist of fate, you might say, that after he hurt his arm pitching, they moved him to the outfield. And the legend of Cool Papa Bell was really born.
Conmigo ya no tiene break. Ey, ya no quiero este amor fake. Ey, ya no estoy pa' ti. Ya no estoy pa' ti.
Two outs, bases full. Oscar Charleston stepping in now. Swing and a miss. And it's 0-1.
The story about Cool Papa Bell striking out Oscar Charleston is even more amazing when you realize it was actually in Bell's professional debut. He struck out Charleston and Ben Taylor back-to-back. Quite a way to start your career.
My cardiac buff, excuse me a second. Don't really matter to the Lord. Yo, I'ma turn it to furnace. Snubble hotel after candle at dinner. The room that we in is impeccably furnished.
Cool Papa Bell is in left field. They're on our Field of Legends at the Negro Leagues Baseball Museum because of another special ball player that's in center field. But Cool Papa Bell is one of the greatest center fielders this game has ever seen. Quick release that made up for the injured arm and blazing speed. He played a shallow outfield, so it was hard to bloop it in front of him. And you had to hit it on a rope to get it over his head because he could get on his horse with the best of them. And Cool would use that blazing speed and ran himself into the National Baseball Hall of Fame in 1974.
City gone up, so you better buzz. Finna see who really wanna us, who really spilling blood. Everybody tough, so they gotta go and see the judge. Better hush, never growing up. All I wanted was to be wanted me to get a little bread.
So 2 down. Turkey Stearnes stepping to the plate now. That's ripped into the outfield. And that's the ball game. What a play to finish it.
Don't nobody want to dance slow when liquid Sometimes I hate taking trips to the lab. Got my pen and pad, booking instrumentals and smash. Catch the bus regardless. Trying hard to be an artist, but my A&R be calling me out my zone to his office. Being called.
Cool Papa Bell was one of the great leadoff hitters of all time. He became a great switch hitter and then started primarily hitting from his left-hand side. So he's getting a running start from the get-go. Once while playing in Cuba, he hit 3 home runs. And you'll say, well, okay, there's a lot of guys who've hit 3 home runs, but there are not a lot of guys who hit 3 inside the park home runs in one game. Cool Papa Bell, while playing in Mexico, goes from first to third so fast on a single that the Mexican team stopped the game in protest because they swore he had cut across the diamond. There was no way in the world any man could get around the bases that fast. That's the speed of Cool Papa Bell.
Were you always fast? Oh, yeah, I was fast when I was a little kid. It was just something born in me.
If I slip, I slide, I don't trip, I glide, when I dip, I dive, when I dive deep, in the middle of an ocean, you know where to find me. Come on, let me tell you what they told me. They told me slowly is the fastest way to get where you wanna be, so I ease to a steady speed, let that breathe, no push stop, give me keys to that blue Impala, this the good part, when you're living everything you thought about, no single mother.
Back now at Greenleaf Field, at the plate, Cool Papa Bell.
With a lot of Negro League stars, you wonder what they could have done if baseball was integrated at the time. Cool Papa Bell hit almost 400 in interracial games over the course of his career. It didn't matter who he was playing, he always excelled.
You brought up Bell's success in games against white players, Singy. Hall of Fame third baseman Pie Traynor said he could have made the grade easily and that he could steal a pitcher's pants. Another player said he must have had wings on his feet. Line drive, base hit. And that keeps the inning alive.
One of Bell's greatest compliments came when he dominated the interracial 1936 Denver Post tournament. The sports editor of the paper wrote, "All these years, I've been looking for a player who could steal first base. I found my man. His name is Cool Papa Bell." And here is Cool Papa Bell. We don't really have an accurate accounting of how many bases Cool Papa Bell stole. Not every team in the Negro Leagues kept track of stolen bases, so they just went unrecorded.
Swing and a ball hit out towards left center field, and that'll fall for a base hit. Caught in a rundown now, and they put the tag on him for the out.
Everybody tough, so they gotta go and see the judge. Better hush. Remember growing up, all I wanted was to be to get a
Waters tosses to first, and they get Bell for the out. That ends the inning and stops things from getting out of hand. And that's downstairs, and it's 1-0. Not a lot of doubt that Bell stole a lot more bases than he got credit for, but we do know that in a game against a bunch of white all-stars, he stole second, third, and home on 3 straight pitches. Not many players with the guts to try that, let alone the skill to accomplish it. Upstairs.
Boog, we usually talk about how fast Cool Papa was, but he was seriously strong, too. He used a bat that was 35 inches long and 38 ounces. That's about as heavy as the bat Babe Ruth swung.
Slings to first, and they get Bell for the out. Cool Papa Bell digging in now. That's ripped. Base hit. Around first, digging for 2. Throws to second. Swims around the tag, and he's safe at second. Ready to go for the last half of the inning. And now the center fielder, Cool Papa Bell. Not even close there. And that's ball 1. Fouled off. He was late. Here's a high fly ball out to center. Hunter has a beat on it. Hauls it in for the out. And there's one down. So the lineup flips over. Digging in is the switch inning outfielder, Cool Papa Bell. Line drive, base hit. Glass around third. He'll score. And now he's out trying to get back. The huge turn backfires, and that ends the inning. And that one fouled off.
Well, these guys need to bring up the quality of their at-bats and specifically their swings. Just one extra base hit for them, so they haven't exactly been hitting the ball gap to gap or out of the park. That makes it really difficult to generate runs.
Here's a 1-1. Taylor gets his lead at first with nobody out. Drilled out towards left center field. That's well struck. That one carrying. And it hits the fence. Coming home. The relay throw. He'll score easily. It's 7-3.
What up, y'all? Yeah, soundtrack, what's poppin', baby? Woo! Y'all ain't know, I go by the name of
Cool Papa Bell played on 3 of the greatest Negro League teams of all time. You might make a case that they were 3 of the greatest baseball teams of all time. His St. Louis Stars, Homestead Grays, and Pittsburgh Crawfords. He was a star internationally. There was nothing that Cool Papa Bell didn't accomplish playing in the Negro Leagues. I guess you could say the only thing that he didn't accomplish was the opportunity to play in the major leagues. As Cool Papa would say, they said that they would let a black man play in the major leagues if they could find the right one. Well, according to Cool Papa Bell, they clearly weren't looking for the right one, because the right ones were all there in the Negro Leagues, and Cool Papa was right there in front of their eyes. Well, if you could see it. Cool Papa Bell became legendary in St. Louis, where he was a member of the great St. Louis Stars, who won multiple championships there in the city of St. Louis. So it was only fitting that the city of St. Louis would name a street for Cool Papa Bell. Now, I think the speed limit on Cool Papa Bell Avenue is about 25, 30 miles per hour. Y'all, that's too slow. They should have named a section of I-70 for Cool Papa Bell.
All right, ready to get underway. Now it's the switch hitting outfielder, Cool Papa Bell. That one way outside, and we're underway.
I slide, I don't trip. I glide when I dip. I dive when I dive. I dive deep.
The other way, and a base hit. So a man on base to start the inning.
If I slip, I slide, I don't trip. I glide when I dip. I dive when I dive. I dive deep.
Judy Johnson was the best defensive third baseman in the Negro Leagues, and he said if Cool Papa Bell hit a ball to the left side that took more than one hop, there was no way to get him out. Judy said you might as well just hold the ball.
And there's a strike on the outside corner. When Cool Papa got inducted into the Hall of Fame, he thanked them for letting him smell the roses while he was still alive and called it the biggest honor he ever received. But he always said the biggest thrill of his life was seeing the big leagues integrated. There's a swing and a drive. That's down. One hops off the wall. Round second, digging for third. The relay swims around the tag, and he's in safely at third.
If I slip, I slide, I don't trip. I glide when I dip. I dive when I dive. I dive deep in the middle of me. When it's poetry in motion, she don't ever mind me. If I slip, I slide, I don't trip. I glide when I dip. I dive when I dive. I dive deep in the middle of an ocean. You know it.
That man is just built different.
What I really love about this phenom by the name of Shohei Ohtani is he's now led folks to come to the Negro Leagues Baseball Museum wanting to learn about the great two-way stars of the Negro Leagues.
Look, it's 6 o'clock, I'm hopping out of the bed. Rain falling, calling X, but my phone line's there.
Perhaps the greatest two-way player of them all was the legendary Wilbur Bullet Rogan.
Don't nobody want to dance slow when the rain.
Who was a star for the great Kansas City Monarchs in the Negro Leagues. Now, Bullet Rogan, at first glance, didn't look like a great athlete. Shohei Ohtani is an imposing figure. He is a big young man. But Bullet Rogan was on the opposite end of the spectrum. Stood about 5'7", weighed about 180 pounds. Satchel Paige would call him chunky. But Bullet Rogan was a tremendous athlete. When Bullet Rogan wasn't pitching, he played the outfield and hit cleanup for the Kansas City Monarchs. Bullet Rogan could rake. Leroy Satchel Paige, who said that Bullet Rogan was the onlyest baseball player that he ever saw, that he ever heard of, that pitched and hit cleanup in the batting order. That was Bullet Rogan.
it's too late.
Said I gotta do better, I gotta do better, I gotta pick up the pieces and master the puzzle.
And now here is Taylor. And that one is downstairs. And this one is off and running. And that skips in the dirt.
The term two-way player really doesn't capture how spectacular Bullet Rogan was. Bob Feller said he could do anything. He was one of the best black ball players I ever saw. And Feller barnstormed with just about every Negro League star.
Payoff pitch from Rogan. And a swing and a miss. And there's one away. And now Jones. That one misses. And that is ball one. Just about the only thing Bullet wasn't the best at was managing. Chet Brewer once said he wasn't a good manager because he was such a great player himself. He thought it should be easy for you. He didn't know how great he was. 2 outs, base is empty. Now the left fielder, Glass. And that drops in for a strike.
First team Bullet played on was the 25th Infantry Wreckers in the U.S. Army, and there are actually box scores for a lot of his games for that team. Over 4 years, he went 36-3 on the mound while batting over .350.
Top of the second, here's the shortstop at the plate, Murray, and that's down and away. There's a strike. 1-1. And a big swing and a miss. Waves at the bender for the strikeout. Hughes stands in here. Tried to hold back his swing there, but went around. Popped up. 2 away now. Now it's the right fielder, Smith. Swing and a miss, strike one. 0-1. Swing and a miss. And the count is 0-2. And ball one. Foul ball still a 1-2 count. Right side. 2 down, nobody on. In the air, right side. Bell makes the grab, and that'll do it.
I remember my passion in the past when I was scribbling in my tablet to box out my mom and dad's rapping to help me with my grandmother. What up, y'all? Yeah, soundtrack, what's poppin', baby? Woo! Check it out. First got it when he was 6, didn't know any tricks. Matter of fact, first time he got on it, he slipped, landed on his hip and busted his lip.
Here's Bullet Rogan for the first time in this one, and a chance to do some damage. Swing and a high fly ball down the right field line. Leaps at the wall, but can't haul it in. Throw back in, holds the runner at third. Base is now loaded. Only 1 away. Miller back to work. A little bit low. 1-0.
What a talent Bullet Rogan was. Not only was he an ace on the mound, but in 17 years of Negro League play, he batted .335 and slugged over .500. And unlike Babe Ruth, he pitched almost the whole time with a career ERA of just 2.68.
Reach for the galaxy.
Check swing went around. Strike one. If you're going to bring up Bullet Rogan's career stats, Singy, we've got to highlight what he did against white major leaguers. Only 3 recorded games, but he went 4 for 11 at the plate, and he gave up just 4 runs in 2 complete games on the mound. Ripped into left center, base hit. Around first, heading for 2. Throws to second, and he's out. Cut down, and that ends the inning.
Bullet Rogan was one of the winningest pitchers in Negro League's history. He now holds the distinction of having the 4th highest winning percentage in Major League Baseball history. And of course, he earned his nickname Bullet because he got that thing up to the plate in a hurry. What's even more remarkable is he threw from a no wind-up delivery, and yet his nickname was Bullet. He had the heavy fastball. He had a great curveball, a palm ball. I guess you could say he threw everything at hitters, including the kitchen sink. And while his control was not as impeccable as, let's say, a Satchel Paige, Bullet Rogan had the uncanny ability to work himself into jams, but the great stuff and the supreme confidence to get himself out of jams.
Big spot here for Bullet Rogan and the Monarchs in a serious jam in the ninth. And now the shortstop, Murray. One-run game, bottom nine. Fought off foul. Fights that one away, still 1-2. The winning run on second base. Got him. Rogan with the heater for the K. Glass now at the plate. That's in there. 0-1. Comes up empty. That's strike two. Got him swinging. It's a strikeout. Now only one out remaining. Hayes in the box now. Takes strike one. Off the mark there. And the count is 1-1. Strike two, and there's a real chance they get out of this without allowing a run.
In the inaugural Negro League World Series held in 1924, Bullet Rogan won 2 of those games and was one of the hitting stars in that series, helping the Monarchs capture Kansas City's first ever professional sports team championship in 1924. Frank Duncan, who had been a great catcher and would eventually manage the great Kansas City Monarchs, when asked about who he would choose between Satchel Paige and Bullet Rogan, Duncan's response was Rogan, because he knew that Satchel had all the stuff to get you out, but Bullet Rogan's versatility perhaps made him even more valuable than the legendary Leroy Satchel Paige.
Bullet Rogan up now with a chance to break it open early for Kansas City. That one outside. Ball one. Between 1924 and 1925, Bullet Rogan was as good as you can imagine a player possibly being. He won 36 games against just 8 losses, batted .380, tossed 41 complete games out of 50 starts.
When Bullet got inducted into the Hall of Fame, his son said he didn't know if his dad had thrown as hard as Satchel Paige, but when Satch was on the mound, he needed a designated hitter. When my dad was on the mound, he was in the cleanup spot.
All loaded up, dangerous hitter at the plate. Now a screamer into the outfield. Brings it in, and that's the third out. And the first pitch misses for ball one. One person could tell you how hard Rogan threw. Monarchs catcher Frank Duncan. He'd buy 2 steaks before catching Rogan and slip one into his catcher's mitt for protection. After 5 innings, the first steak would be shredded, and he'd switch to another one. Ground ball left side could be 2. There's 1. On to first, double play. That one back up the middle, and it gets through. And the leadoff man aboard.
To give you an indication of Bullet Rogan's supreme confidence, playing down in Cuba, and his catcher was Hall of Famer Raleigh Biz Mackey. And they're facing a team that featured the great Alejandro Ohms, a notorious curveball hitter. And so Mackey is laying down the signs for Rogan, and Rogan's shaking him off because Rogan wants to throw his curveball. And Mackey's like, no, don't throw him a curveball. And Rogan's like, I got this. He can't hit my curveball. And what does he do? He drops 3 hooks and struck Ohms out. Bullet Rogan was a transcending kind of player.
Bullet Rogan just 1 out from getting the win for Kansas City. And now, Martinez. Swing and a miss at the curve for strike 1. In the dirt, and the count even 1-1. They're down to their final strike. Rogan is just 1 strike away. Just misses with that one. Got him, and that's the ball game.
Too close to me, what class is taking my coat from me? I blasted dope is shit on the dopamine. Locally, I be low skis. Overseas, I be ODB.
Monarchs looking to add on to their lead as Bullet Rogan digs in with 1 out and a runner at third. Late swing fouled off.
Not a lot of players can claim the championship success that Bullet Rogan had. Not only did he win a Negro League World Series with Kansas City, but he won a title for Almendares in the Cuban Winter League and multiple championships in the California Winter League.
The pitch. Swung on, belted. That's back there. Oh, you are a star, aren't you?
Wilbur Rogan would join the Kansas City Monarchs after playing for one of the greatest military baseball teams of all time, the legendary 25th Infantry Wreckers. The thing that I find so fascinating is that these African-American ball players who served valiantly, they were fighting for a country that essentially wasn't fighting for them. And yet if you were to ask them why they wanted to fight, and why they wanted to serve, well, the answer would be simple. Because we were American. And there's no greater way to prove how American you are than service to your country. Bullet Rogan was nearly 31 years old when he joined the Negro League. By baseball standards, he's old. And yet Rogan was still tremendously impactful. He would become one of the first superstars of the newly formed Negro National League. In Kansas City, Bullet Rogan lay at rest in a cemetery in what I guess you could describe as a rather nondescript grave site. And a few years ago, we were able to work with the cemetery, who did not allow upright headstones, to install a monument that was befitting a player of the magnitude of Wilbur Bullet Rogan, who in 1998 finally crossed over that threshold into baseball's immortality when he was inducted into the National Baseball Hall of Fame.
Traders, I gave you hard work and labor. I gave you your flavor. You bohemian haters. This fakers, you gave me crumbs, now give me cakers. The movers and fakers get around and catch the papers.
Bullet Rogan to the plate now, and he's looking to knock in the runners from second and third. Yeah, that's fouled off. Two on, one out. Center field. McDonald gets under it. He's got it. Runner tags for home. The relay, not in time. He's safe as a run scores.
It really is a pity that Bullet Rogan didn't get to play in organized professional baseball until his late 20s. Given how dominant he was right away, he could have had many more incredible seasons in the Negro National League.
You talked about the late start of Bullet's career, Singy, but he made up for it at the end. He played all the way until the 1938 season when he was deep into his 40s. Throws to first, and Rogan is set down for the out. And that is the inning. Outside, and that's ball one. And he gets that fastball by him upstairs.
1-1.
That misses the zone. 2-1. Swing and a miss. There's that changeup. Spoils that one, and it remains 2-2. Oh, great stop. Over to first. And that's a great play for the out. Bullet Rogan digging in now. First offering misses badly for ball one. Line to right, and that'll be a base hit. So the go-ahead run is on base with a knock. Bullet Rogan, the next to hit. That's in for a strike. On the ground to the left, and that's just foul. This one in the air right field, Bradley. And there's two away. So two in scoring position with one out. Digging in, Bullet Rogan. That one misses. Ball one.
Ball one, no strike.
And another ball.
2 balls, no strike.
Swing and a ball lined out towards center. Diving, gets down, could be extra bases. One runs in, another comes in to score. He's in there. Ground ball left side. Whips it across, and Rogan is set down for the out. That's out number 3. And that one upstairs, ball 1. Line drive. Makes a nice running catch. And there's 2 away. And first offering is fouled off. Man on second, 2 down. And that just misses. Fouls it off, still 1-2. Stearnes stands at second with 2 gone. Swing and a base hit. Coming home. He will score. It's an RBI single, and they take a 3-run lead.
Listen.
By now, you may have noticed that the Negro Leagues had great nicknames. As a matter of fact, if you didn't have a nickname, well, you probably couldn't play. And one of the great nicknames and one of the greatest players that you likely never heard of was the legendary Norman Stearnes, a.k.a. Turkey Stearnes. The great cool Papa Bell would say that if Turkey Stearnes is not in the Hall of Fame, then no one should be in the Hall of Fame.
Ooh, that Turkey Stearnes was something. Somebody could hit the ball. I played with him, against him, and he could run, too. Yeah, he could throw. He could do everything, and was a gentleman. Who I think hit the most home run? Turkey Stearnes, I would say.
Norman Turkey Stearnes earned his nickname Turkey because when he ran the base pass, his arms flapped like a turkey. But as I remind folks, this turkey could fly. Around the base pass and in the outfield, tracking down everything that came his way, and he had a cannon for a throwing arm. There was nothing that Turkey Stearnes couldn't do on a baseball field.
No, you just gotta open your eyes.
Here's the center fielder, Turkey Stearnes.
You know, Norman Stearnes sometimes had a different explanation for how he came to be called Turkey. He said it was because he had a pot belly as a kid, and some other kids thought he looked like a turkey. Man, kids can be so mean. Anyhow, the name stuck.
On the ground right side. Tosses to first. 1 up, 1 down. The numbers Turkey put up as a rookie in 1923 are just eye-popping. He batted .366 with 18 homers and 89 knocked in, and a Detroit Stars record .703 slugging percentage. Makes the grab, and that's the 3rd out.
One interesting thing about Turkey, he batted and threw lefty his whole career, but he was a natural right-hander. Apparently, he burned his arm as a young man and switched to hitting left-handed.
Balls, one strike. That one down the line, and foul ball. Ground ball, and that's through the infield. Runner from third comes across. It's an RBI single, and it's now 5-4. Missed with a changeup. Ball one. In the air, right center. This is mashed way back and gone.
Well, Norman Turkey Stearnes, as a member of the Detroit Stars, played at Mack Park, which had what looked like a friendly 265 wall down the right field line. But what you'll want to remember is that wall was 12 feet high. And Norman Turkey Stearnes knew that he needed to hit it high and let it fly. Satchel Paige would talk about Norman Turkey Stearnes' hitting prowess, that he said Turkey would always hit him. In a game, he had collected 3 hits off of him. And Satchel said, the 4th time up at the plate, I felt like I better just roll the ball to the plate because I can't get him out. When Leroy Satchel Paige says that, then you know you must be a great hitter, and Turkey Stearnes was just that.
Runner at third with one gone, and here's the slugging Turkey Stearnes. That one missed.
Take a look out at the right field wall here at Mack Park. It was no joke. Turkey Stearnes used to say that wall needed a tall fly ball if you were going to hit a homer.
Almost got him. Ground ball up the middle. Fires to first on the run, and they get the out.
It wasn't just in Detroit where Turkey showed off some serious power. Buck Leonard said he could hit him through heavy winds in Chicago's Southside Park, and not a lot of players could do that.
Comes up empty as he chases that one in the dirt. One really cool story about Turkey. After his playing career was over, he spent a lot of years going to games at Tiger Stadium and just sitting in the bleachers like a regular fan.
Must have been quite a treat for anybody who got to sit next to him.
First pitch, not close. That one is absolutely belted. You can kiss it goodbye. Glass digs in now. Bennett back to work. Fly ball center field. Turkey makes the catch. Now the throw home. Fires it to the plate. Got him. Turkey Stearnes with a laser to cut down the run and keep the Stars in front.
Sometimes I hate taking trips to the lab. Got my pen and pad, booking instrumentals and smash. Catch the bus regardless. Trying hard to be an artist, but my A&R be calling me out my zone into his office. Being called.
Beat up the block and the gun, I'ma press a little button to open the wings.
Unlike the power personified by Josh Gibson, here's Norman Turkey Stearnes weighing in at about 165 pounds. So you didn't just automatically see power hitter. But maybe old Turkey had you just where he wanted you, because they would look at him standing there at home plate with his legendary pigeon-toed stance. And I think all the pitchers thought, oh man, I got this dude right where I want him. And old Turkey had him set up, and he would knock that thing out the ballpark with the best of them. Is why a lot of people are surprised to learn that he led the Negro Leagues in home runs 7 seasons. He hit over 300 in 16 seasons. He now ranks number 6 in career Major League lifetime batting average and number 6 in all-time slugging percentage. I guess that's why you could say you never judge a book by its cover.
Bases loaded for the Stars, and here comes the big bat of Turkey Stearnes. That missed by a lot. 1-0. Turkey Stearnes was an absolute extra base machine, leading the league in triples 6 times and in homers 7 times. No other player in baseball history has even done it 5 times each. Lined into left center, should be extra bases. 1 run's in. Now the second run is in.
The way Turkey hit, it's no surprise he was very protective of his bats. Buck O'Neil said Turkey carried him around in a special case like they were violins. And he even caught Turkey talking to his bats one night in the team hotel.
Squeezes it, and that is that. Pitch misses, and that's ball 1.
You know, Boog, Turkey hit for the cycle as a rookie just over a month into his career.
Chris, seriously, is this just an excuse for you to talk about the time you hit for the cycle as a rookie?
No, well, you know, maybe.
And he takes it himself for the out. Jackson back to work. Right side, Taylor. And they get Stearnes for the out.
Not only was Turkey Stearnes a great hitter, he was an amazing outfielder too. Double Duty Radcliffe said nobody could cover more outfield than him, not even Willie Mays.
You brought up how good a fielder Turkey was, Chris, and that was true through his whole career. In the 1935 East-West All-Star Game, the Pittsburgh Courier wrote that he strutted around center field covering almost as much territory as the state of Texas. 2 outs. To the right side, Taylor throws to first in time, and they get Stearnes for the out. And that is the inning. So bases all loaded up. Turkey Stearnes stepping to the plate now. Armstrong back to work. Late swing, foul to the left. All loaded up, dangerous hitter at the plate. And that one fouled off. Back to the mound, it hit him. Throw home, not in time, the run scores. On the board first, it's 1-0.
poppy seed. Me, Nikani, mommy, all she say is me, no poppy seed. Hardly can speak no English.
Fought off foul.
Baby, that's why little baby, that's why sip all that singing, I'm back on dirty.
Fouled off, he was late. Runner at second here, one gone.
Can't live this life, you don't deserve it. I've been working, your tribe, got me, whole tribe.
Oh, that was scorched. Forget it. Turkey Stearnes with a tremendous home run. Two down, nobody on. Last half of inning number 5. And there's a rocket into the outfield. Takes the turn. He's digging for second. Now the tag at second, and he's out. Trying for 2. That's out number 3. And first offering is fouled off. Hard grounder into the outfield for a knock. Coming home. He'll score easily. Safe. And that's his 3rd hit. Chance for Turkey Stearnes to do some damage for Detroit as he digs in here. Clips the corner, and that's strike 1.
Turkey Stearnes' rivals were amazed he hit as well as he did. Jimmy Crutchfield said he had a batting stance that you'd swear couldn't let anybody hit a baseball at all, but you couldn't criticize him for it when he was hitting everything they threw at him.
Onto the track, and he makes the catch. Yeah, that story from Jimmy Crutchfield singing, it matches up with Satchel Paige's assessment. He said Turkey was as good as Josh Gibson, as good as anybody that ever played. Swing and a line drive, base hit out into center field. So they get a man aboard with a 1-out single.
Turkey showed off a lot of power his whole career. In his mid-30s, he tied Mule Suttles with 16 homers to lead the Coast Winter League. They were teammates that year on the Nashville Elite Giants, and some people consider that the best black team ever in that league.
That's a base hit, and they had their first base runner since the 3rd inning. New inning getting started, and now the center fielder, Turkey Stearnes. Ripped to third and caught. Turkey Stearnes stepping to the plate now. Base hit. That was smoked through the infield. And they hold the runner at third, but the bases are loaded now with 1 out. Swing and a miss. There's that changeup.
0-1.
I'ma keep this feeling close to me, but I think I lost my mind.
That one fouled off.
11 months of the same routine, keeping up this facade of mine. I'm gonna buy you
On the ground, a second, might be 2. Off balance feet, there's 1. To first, not in time. Great effort there. Back to work.
Well, these players doing a good job of simply getting the bat on the ball in this game, and the numbers back that up. They have yet to strike out, and they're averaging more than a hit per inning. That's a great recipe for success right there.
First and second, 1 out. And next will be the cleanup hitter, Turkey Stearnes. That one is absolutely belted. One hops off the wall, should be extra bases. One runs in, cut off, throw to third. Not in time, he's safe. Tapped up the first base side, and it goes just foul. That's a laser base hit. In comes the run from third to add on. It's an RBI single. It's 5-0.
Reach for the galaxy. Leave stardust for thus after me.
As a power hitter, Turkey Stearnes really never counted his home runs, particularly if they didn't help them win a game. As a matter of fact, the great Buck O'Neil joined the Monarchs the same year that Turkey was there. And Turkey, like most great hitters, had multiple bats. And so in this particular game, he hit it to the warning track, where the opposition caught it right on the base of the warning track. And that night, Buck says he goes up to check on Turkey in his hotel room, and there's Turkey sitting in the bed with the two bats. He had the lighter bat that he had used for the flyout, and he's got the heavier bat. And he looks at the lighter bat and says, if I hadn't used you, and I would have used you, I would have hit that ball out the ballpark. Now, I'm not going to say that Turkey was superstitious, but there might have been a little bit of stitious to his game, and it served him well because Norman Turkey Stearnes was a tremendous all-around hitter who hit for power and hit for average.
Scoring opportunity for the Monarchs as Turkey Stearnes steps to the dish against Leon Day. And a strike in there.
Turkey Stearnes carved out an incredible legacy in Detroit, especially when you consider that the addition of Negro League statistics to MLB's record book in 2024 put him in the top 7 in career batting average, slugging percentage, and OPS.
You can kiss it goodbye. He swings and misses at the first pitch. 0-1. And foul ball. Chris, you brought up Turkey's legacy in Detroit. I'd say it's between him and Ty Cobb for the best outfielder ever in that city, even ahead of Al Kaline. That's the kind of player Turkey Stearnes was.
I agree that Turkey's on the same level as Cobb, Boog. If you adjust his career stats over a 162-game average, that's a .348 batting average with 31 homers and 165 RBIs per season. That's right up there with Babe Ruth, Jimmy Fox, and Barry Bonds. Incredible.
Foul ball still, a 1-2 count.
Some of them outside still, some of them inside gray. I'm a real beast boy. Come round my way. Left me with the either or. Fill these voids and fill my bank. Blue strips only. You switched on me. Mama
swing and a miss, and he chases that one in the dirt. And there's 2 gone following the strikeout.
Are you with that? I won't get back. I'm gonna hop out and crack. Are you with that? I want big racks. I'm gonna flock. I'm gonna stack. Are you with that? Won't forget that. That's all in my past. Are you with that? Like I'm
now a
with that?
screamer into the outfield. And there's one down. So a man at first. Here's the center fielder, Turkey Stearnes. And that's way high. And it's 1-0. Late on that fastball.
1 ball, 1 strike.
Ground ball could be 2. 1 at second. What a double play that was. Inning over. Runner at first with 2 away. Turkey Stearnes now at the plate. High fly ball down the left field line. Glass on the move towards foul ground. He's got it, and that'll do it. So 2 in scoring position with 1 out. And now the center fielder, Turkey Stearnes. That's off the inside corner. Ball 1.
1-0.
Out to short. Urban handles this one. And they get Stearnes for the out. And a foul ball. Fouled off left side. Swinging a ground ball up the middle. Now the throw to first on the run. On the money. Nice play. Day back to work.
That's inside ball.
And that one fouled off. Day with the 2-1 pitch. That one lifted to left. Glass in and to his right. Makes the...
City going up.
2 on, 1 out. Turkey Stearnes stepping to the plate now. That misses the zone. Ball 1. And a foul ball. And that one fouled off.
Ball.
Second and third, 1 away. And a foul ball, he stays alive. Two on, 1 out. Popped up. And Irvin makes the grab for the out. That's out number 2. The 1-0 from Day.
Nope, that's outside. Ball. Right.
2 down, nobody on. Oh, that was scorched. Forget it. Turkey Stearnes with a tremendous home run. Day back to work.
Ball.
That misses.
Ball.
Now 2 balls and a strike. sharp grounder. That's through for a base hit. So a runner aboard to start the inning.
Turkey Stearnes hailed from Nashville, Tennessee. Fell in love with the game of baseball at an early age, and it would ultimately lead him to his dream of playing in the Negro Leagues. There are those who will say that Turkey Stearnes, like a lot of the great players from the Negro Leagues, should have had an opportunity to play in the major leagues. And they're right. But Turkey Stearnes harbored no bitterness, never expressed any ill will toward anyone who may have attempted to perpetrate something against them as they were trying to play baseball in this country. And I find that spirit to be so endearing. Turkey Stearnes knew that he played with and against some of the greatest athletes to ever play this game. They just happened to be in the Negro Leagues. And I'm so proud that the city of Detroit has continued to recognize the exploits of Norman Turkey Stearnes with the renovation of Hamtramck Stadium in Detroit. The field is aptly named for Norman Turkey Stearnes. And of course, the great Turkey Stearnes flew himself into the National Baseball Hall of Fame in 2000, a place that he so deserved to be.
Gotta do better, I gotta do better, I gotta do better today. Gotta do better before it's too late.
Said I gotta do better, I gotta do better, I gotta pick up the pieces and master the puzzle upon us. Look the man in the
Turkey Stearnes steps in with a chance to pad the early lead for KC. Yeah, that's pushed foul off to the left and out of play.
Turkey Stearnes and the Detroit Stars played at Mack Park through 1929, but a fire burned down the grandstand. They moved to Hamtramck Stadium in 1930, and Ty Cobb threw out the first pitch at the first game there.
McDonald makes the play, and that should get the job done as he tags from third. He's in on the sacrifice fly, and they lead by 2. Liner, and that should be extra bases. Lead runner touches second, headed for third. And he's got a double.
Today, Hamtramck Stadium is one of only a handful of Negro League stadiums left standing. In 2012, it was added to the National Register of Historic Places. And of course, the field is now named for Turkey Stearnes.
One more note on Hamtramck Stadium, Chris. When it got renovated in the 2010s, a lot of people donated money to help that happen. That included Detroit native, baseball superfan, and rock icon Jack White, who now co-owns the Warstick Bat Company. The 0-1 up the middle, and that chance handled. Whips it to first on the run. In time, got him. Oh, that was scorched. Forget it. Turkey Stearnes with a tremendous home run.
in my brain. She said right there next to me. What is triggering that dread? Some we believe. She's a slut.